All right, Cody, what's up, my friend? How you doing?
What is up, dude? It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. I think that's kind of, I don't think anyone right now can really say we're doing great, but
Right, right.
all right, is it? All right's a good way to put it. That's a interesting way to put it. This is kind of just a crazy time. I think that we're all in the what feels like the most uncertain and crazy time, at least as long as I've been alive, that we're kind of going through right now. Just this, there's like nothing is guaranteed, nothing is certain. Everything's kind of like, what the heck is going on right now?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just, it's hard to actually sometimes process what our brains are actually thinking. Like, what are you thinking right now?
yeah. For me, I think what I'm thinking right now is how can I be the most help possible? How can I use every tool or advantage or thing that I have within me um, to be as helpful as I possibly can. So it's like, thing number one is like stay home. Like that's something that everybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think there's something inside of me, just the type of person that I am, where I'm like, but that's not enough. Like I must be able to do more than just not
Right.
spread this virus around by practicing good social distancing, responsible social distancing. There must be more that I can do. So, I'm thinking a lot about our friends in this community, in this creator freelance community, and like, is there some way that I can help connect brands with freelancers who can send them products or get them to review services or do product photos or make in-home product videos and
Right.
just use the internet that way. Or I'm just trying to think like, what can I actually do to help people in this time, since I'm not a doctor and um, it doesn't feel like enough to just stay home. Like just this morning, for instance, I was like, oh, I should go give blood, because I know there's a blood shortage right now
Mm-hmm.
because people are staying home, and it's like it's almost like you're getting conflicted messages, like, oh, should I go out or? And so I was doing a lot of research on it, and then I haven't been able to go give for a couple of days because I keep waking up with either a runny nose or a headache due to allergies. And then as I started looking into it more, I remembered I was in Honduras in kind of a rural village last year in May, and that precludes me from even donating again until June of this year.
Mm.
So just like, I'm just thinking about what can I do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a weird time. And to give people a little bit of perspective of kind of, not your whole journey over the last couple of years, but what is your income right now look like? Not financially, but like where does your income come? So people can get a feel for how Cody Wanner makes money, and then we can go into kind of the effects of how it looks in different aspects. Like, how do you make your
Yeah,
money as an influencer, YouTuber, freelance guy?
right. Yeah, there's basically two streams. One is I make money by making videos that I put on my channel, which are, we call them integrations, but you could call them sponsorships, where companies like, we want to advertise to your audience on your YouTube channel, put this ad read in your video and make some sort of video where your people see us. That's kind of the one stream. The other stream is a brand or a company will reach out and say, we want a video to be made for us, for our channels across social or on our website or whatever, and I make that video. And those videos used to always be, you know, I was never in front of the camera on any of those videos. I was always behind the camera. I was making, just a regular commercial
Right.
video. But I have done more now since starting YouTube, that where they want it for their channel, but they also want me to be in it, and that's been a really interesting thing as well. But so those are the two main ways, and then there's some ad revenue. It's not huge. There's Patreon, there's merch sales, there's stuff
Some
like that.
speaking stuff.
Speaking stuff, yeah. Speaking stuff, which has definitely taken a hit
Yeah.
in this time, obviously, and then also workshops, like that sort of. goes
Hmm.
along with speaking a bit too, but teaching people in person, or in video format how to make videos, how to tell stories, whatever.
So, we come to this interesting time where, everyone kind of is and everyone's a different type of planner. So I don't know if you're a planner that's kind of really so far in advance and planning every dollar of different things. I know your wife's, I think, a little bit more like that, similar to my wife, where she's kind of the planner.
Right.
You're more like that. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get to this is one of those super rare, spaces that we're in where it's not even like it was a recession where you kind of see something coming and it's eventually like, okay, I need to start planning. It's kind of was like this hit and everyone shut down and it's instantaneous and it's good luck feeling.
Hmm.
How has your world been affected even in the 1 to 2 months, because obviously it's uncertain of how long this whole thing lasts, but no question about it, it's causing all of us to kind of instantly be like, what money do I still even have guaranteed coming in? Like, how has it affected you on that side of things? Like, what has been canceled? What's all that?
Yeah. So I've had um, over $10,000 of either gigs or speaking or projects canceled, in the course that happened, like in the course of 3 days,
Right.
Um, I am I think in some ways we as freelancers have, or small business owners have a bit of an advantage in that, like, we've felt the financial side. Like, this isn't a new feeling financially for me, where it's like it sort of, as a freelancer, it sort of always feels like it's up in the air.
Right.
And
Right.
then, I mean, I'm sure there's freelancers who are much better at retainer work, much better at, like, getting things that are much more consistent, but I've just never been that kind of freelancer. I'm like, okay, I woke up, what jobs could I sell today? So in a sense, I don't think that part has really hit me as hard yet, but um just because I'm not a planner, I'm almost a day by day money maker.
Hmm.
I'm a day worker, which isn't smart. I wouldn't recommend that people do that. I'm just telling you that's how I am.
But I think this is also so different because if you are a person that relies on yourself basically for your income and doing what you do, if money stops coming in as much, at the end of the day, it's your fault, right? Like
Hmm.
that's just the reality. It's like, okay, well, maybe you didn't work as hard as maybe whatever. This isn't really under your control, which is what I
Hmm.
think is so hard even for me to grasp, and I think other people, is like the idea that even if you were the best speaker in the world and you had 25 gigs this month, we work with some corporate keynote speakers that have lost almost 200,000 bucks in cancellations in the next 2 months.
Hmm.
That was their income. It's like it's almost, it can feel, I don't know if you feel like it can feel deflating that you're kind of like, man, there was nothing I could have done to prepare, and there's almost nothing that I can do now other than hold my breath and see how long it lasts.
Hmm.
And how are
Yes.
any, what's your, like, are any of those thoughts, is that just me or is that is that you?
I I have a really, like, control has been a theme that has been reoccurring in different ways, like, in over the last 10 years for me. What do we have control over? What don't we have control over? And I've really, the only way I know how to grapple with it. I mean, it's funny, in Frozen 2, Olaf says this. I have two daughters. We've
Oh,
watched
I've watched
Frozen
it a
like
hundred times too.
13,000 times. Um, Olaf says in Frozen 2 that we call this controlling what we can when everything feels out of control, right? So it's like, what do I still have control over, and how can I act on those, call them lead measures, to do as much as I possibly can in order to not focus on the stuff that we can't control, and so yes, I think I totally see what you're saying, and I totally agree that there's so much of this that is out of our control. I don't think I've really thought as much about that because I've trained myself
Right.
to only focus on what I can control because, you know, if I don't, I just feel like I'll just fall into
Yeah, yeah.
an actual depression, you know,
Yeah.
where like
Yeah.
because I can't control it, it just, so yeah, man, I think that that's a real thing that a lot of people are feeling right now. It's like, this is out of my control and there's nothing I can do.
Hmm. So what are you doing right now? I know that obviously everyone thinks differently in their actual heads and what they'd say versus how they're actually feeling. But what what's kind of your day by day thoughts? Like how you're gonna process this change and also not knowing what's coming next. What shifts are you making to make this whole thing work until there's resolution to it? Like have you changed things? Have you created new ideas?
Yeah. So, I mean, immediately, or not immediately, but a couple days into social distancing, I decided for my YouTube channel to make a bit of a pivot and go back to daily
Hmm.
vlogging because I find so much purpose in just encouraging people through hard times.
Hmm.
And like when I started the daily vlog in 2018, it was obviously like encouraging people who own small businesses, and that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard time just in and of itself. So
Right.
it's like, let me try to encourage you through that. So this is, the stakes are a bit different, I think, with this, and it's more just about life and that sort of thing. But so yeah, I made that pivot. And but when it comes to business and when it comes to like, you know, what's changing now, I'm focusing on what on the jobs that and sponsorships that I still do have, and you know, trying to think about how can I make these in a way that doesn't feel opportunistic, doesn't feel dirty, you know,
Hmm.
and feels genuine and real and authentic and transparent, but still, you know, gets the job done. And thinking about those ideas, and then in and around my house, you know, trying to shoot those videos and come up with ideas, similarly, to help other people who are maybe in a similar situation continue to make money and feel like they have control over something in their
Hmm.
lives.
So can you think about a time, obviously there's never been a time quite like this, but can you think of a time that you felt anything similar to what you're feeling now in terms of like, man, there's uncertainty, but looking back now, whatever pivot you made at that time, whatever it was that you're like, man, how much better did I come out of that situation? Like, does something come to mind when you think about a situation that seemed not so great, and
Hmm.
in turn you're like, man, had it not been for that?
Yeah. In 2018, my business partners and I decided that the best thing for all parties involved would be if they bought me out of our video production company. And although it was something we had been kind of, you know, not explicitly talking about, but it was always there. The conversation's always there between partners of, you know, should we stick together? Would a buyout make more sense? And when um, they made that decision and talked to me about it, and then we made the decision together, it did feel I mean, it all felt very unknown. That company, what felt like my baby, and I had been working in it for almost 5 years as an owner, and it was, even though small business, there's hardly anything very kind of consistent and stable about it, at least the way we ran ours.
Yeah.
um, it at least was, it felt a bit more like a stable thing, right? And so to say kind of goodbye to that and to think about working with our lawyer and negotiating the buyout and all that stuff, like that all felt very kind of just unknown and crazy, right?
Hmm.
And the pivot that I was making at that time was to go full time YouTube and make money, you know, on my own through my YouTube channel. And yeah, hands down, you know, it was, there were ups and downs in the whole negotiation, and numerous times where we just kind of had to come back to the table and just everyone get back on the same page. And it was all very, it was something I had never done before. but it really did end up so great. And our relationship now with my partners is stronger than it's ever been. Um, and they're doing great as 100% owners of that video production
Mm-hmm.
company. I'm doing fairly well with what I'm doing, client work and YouTubing. So, um, yeah, it worked out. It worked out. So
Yeah.
again, we have literally never encountered something like coronavirus, like COVID-19, like what we're experiencing right now. So this is, I understand if you listening to this are hearing like, yeah, but that's nothing like this. And it's true. Like, we've never experienced
Right.
something like this, but that's the closest thing that I can think of there's an unknown, it's scary, but kind of we're kind of just going to have to go through it.
All right, last thing, and you're a person that obviously always stays incredibly positive, which I've always appreciated. You're always smiling. What perspective, what helps you right now to like smile in the midst of craziness? Like, what keeps you going right now?
Yeah.
Perspective for people.
Yeah, the thing that keeps me going is knowing that I do have the ability to help other people. And I find just so much purpose in that, whether it's encouraging people themselves to keep going, whether it's encouraging them to use their wonderful minds to think of ways that they can help, or that they can provide for their families, or that they can do whatever, or whether it's helping a small business continue to market, like in a time where marketing just feels so weird and different, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. I know that I have the ability within me, if I don't shut down, if I decide to keep going myself, and keep trying to stay inspired and motivate myself to keep working, I know that I can actually affect some amount of change. And that is incredibly, motivating to me. Is I feel like I have something, a gift that I can offer, and to be able to do that is the thing that keeps me going, keeps me
That's
smiling.
awesome. Well,
Plus,
hey,
I've got one more thing,
no,
like I
yeah,
got my
yeah.
family, I got my girls, I got my family,
Mm-hmm.
and um I have always wanted and needed them to thrive, and
Right.
I want to create an environment for them where they're able to thrive. And so that's extremely motivating for me, as well as the people that I love are counting on me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate your perspective, and we're all in this together. That's what I'm trying to kind of remind everybody is we're all affected in different ways, but I think everyone's affected somehow, some way. So this just kind of I think this is good for people to just hear different perspectives, because it's sometimes easy to, even in the midst of this, to feel like, well, no one really understands what I'm going through, and and they have it better than I, but like, we're all affected in some ways, and we're all gonna get through it. And
Yeah, dude.
we have as humans, if you're still living right now, you've had a 100% success rate of getting through every worst time you've ever had in your life, because
Hmm.
you're still here. So it's
Hmm.
like just a perspective of understanding that we'll get through it, and
Yeah,
we'll look back on it, and it is what it is, right?
it's what it is. Keep going. Just keep
But
going.
appreciate it, man. Keep going, keep encouraging people. If you obviously don't know who Cody Wanner is, make sure you just search for him on YouTube. Cody, Wanner, Cody Wanner on YouTube. Lots of videos. You can binge watch 500, 600 videos of Cody's if you want to keep seeing what you're going through. So
Thanks,
keep
man.
it up. Appreciate all you do.